Am I the butthole for not telling my family which of my children is biologically mine? I have 2 kids, Clark and Kent. While they have the same father, only one of them is biologically my child. They were born within 6 months of each other. The boys are currently 6, and for various reasons I have full custody of both of them. I didn't speak to anyone in my family for several years, and we got back in touch in 2019. Due to the boys' ages, my family know I couldn't have carried both, unless I have the gestation period of a hamster or the longest labor ever. I have explained to them how this all came to be, but in my explanation I neglected to tell them which was my biological child. Due to my ex having a type, the other woman looked enough like me that the boys could pass for twins. Same dark hair, blue eyes, pale skin, and both cleft chins and dimples. My brother jokes that they look like tiny supermen. People who know them refer to them as twins because aside from a few minor differences, they're practically identical. Frankly, if they were closer in age and I'd had full custody of both from the time they were born, I suspect I would have mixed them up a lot as babies. Shortly before Clark's birthday last year, my mom asked if she could see Clark's birth certificate. I asked why and she said she wanted to know the exact time he was born, so I told her. She asked if she could see the certificate anyway. I asked why. She said she just wanted to check. I said I'm his mother, I know when he was born. Then she asked the same thing about Kent and we went through the same conversation all over again. Mom eventually admitted that she just wanted to see the birth mother's name on each certificate, which isn't even how that works and I told her as much. This led to an argument where my stance was that I'm their mother, biology is irrelevant. Mom says if biology is irrelevant then it's not a big deal to tell her which of them is biologically mine. I said if she's so hung up on biology, then clearly it's a big deal to her and I don't want it to be a big deal, especially as the boys themselves don't know. Mom feels this is incredibly selfish, narcissistic, and overall wrong. She feels that if biology isn't such a big issue, then I should have no problem telling her whether Clark or Kent is my biological son, and that accusing her of potential favoritism or something similar with her bio-grandchild is an unfair judgment with no actual reasoning to it. My boyfriend agrees that I shouldn't tell anyone at least until my sons have decided for themselves if they want to know and want other people to know, but my entire family agree with Mom that I'm being unreasonably selfish and that my actions now are more likely to cause issues than Mom's potential actions later. Am I in the wrong? NTA. If she ever finds out, your mother will favor the biological grandchild, otherwise it wouldn't matter to her, who was on the birth certificate. Agreed. I'd be cautious to ensure she doesn't take a swab to their mouth when Mom isn't looking. If Mom isn't close enough to know one, when her daughter gave birth and 2, which she named her baby, then I hope that Mom isn't allowed to be alone with them long enough to secretly swab them. This was my comment as well. Somehow original post spent 9 months pregnant, gave birth to a child, another kid entered her life, and her mom doesn't know which one is which. I want to know why original post was out of contact her family while all of this was happening. Because I suspect buttholishness on the part of the family. Because they are wonderful people, loving their daughter unconditionally and respecting her boundaries. Tell Mom she's on thin ice and about to lose both grandkids, again. My stepfather stole a toothbrush to do a secret paternity test, so she should definitely be careful and keep an eye on her mother. And her minion she might send to do the job. Since the rest of the family agrees. Mom and I were completely no contact from when I was 18 until I was 26. I gave birth at 21, and had sole custody of both sons by the time I was 22. I'm 27 now, nearly 28, so we were out of touch for a while, and us talking again is still fairly new. Before we reconnected she didn't even know she had 1 grandchild, let alone 2. Do not let her know which is your biologically. The fact that she asked is indicative of her desired favoritism. She wants to know which of the kids she should actually be concerned with loving and which one she doesn't need to bother with. There is literally no other reason for her to want to know that information. She wants to know which one is going in the will and which one shouldn't be given a kidney even if she's on her deathbed with both kidneys in working order. Disgusting to be honest. Totally a mystery why original post when no contact, but there are some subtle clues if you listen to the ground. Nah, she wants to know which one to butter up so she can get a new kidney. NTA, From what I can tell, she wants to know which boy has the highest compatibility. Because if it comes to this, she will play the "but I'm your nana" with either one of the boys in order to get a kidney. I would never play favorites as I have adoptive family members who I truly love just as much, and actually like more, than my non-adoptive family members. I'd still be curious as hell. I just find it hard to believe that no one in this thread would be curious for non-nefarious reasons. Sure, you'd be curious, but would you actually ask that question? Would you lie about what you're after to get the information? Would you push for the information after being told no and that you don't need to know? I would ask, and if she said she didn't want to tell me, I would drop it. The mother is TA, for sure. I'm just saying I don't believe everyone in this thread saying they wouldn't even be curious. It's not that they wouldn't be curious, they are responding to the situation described above. Like you just said, no one, according to what they say, is willing to lie and manipulate to get the information the original post is not willing to give up. It's not a lack of curiosity, it's an understanding of the boundaries and respect of where the line is. I'd be curious as hell, so would my mom. But my mom has a heart big enough that I could tell her all the details and her love wouldn't change at all. Original post cut her mom out for years. There's a reason she's in the dark, I'm sure. Or she'll try to get custody of one and not the other if something happens to original post, not wishing that on anyone but you know. She said she hadn't seen them in several years. I talk to my mom at least a couple of times a week. If I got pregnant, she would know. If I was getting custody of another child, she would know. Original post not telling her mom some of the most important moments of her life means Ops mom is toxic and her behavior reinforces that. Edit. I haven't seen my mom in almost a year because we don't live near each other and COVID happened and my mommy is at risk. But she damn sure would know if I was pregnant. Op didn't just not see her mother for a year. She didn't speak to her entire family for years. I think it's clear that she and her mother don't have the same sort of relationship that you and your mother have. I think that's the point they are making. The fact that original post didn't even tell her mom when she gave birth means there's something off about the relationship. This insistence on knowing which is the biological child is pretty good indication of where the problem lies. Yes, you're right on the money here. That's basically what this person is saying. I live abroad and I wouldn't describe my relationship with my mom as particularly close. I see her once a year or every other year and I talk to her about once a month or less. When I have a baby, I do not want my mom in the delivery room or really involved in the birth at all. I don't want her help or support with baby care afterwards either. And yet, if I were pregnant, she would still be one of the first people I would tell. So in my eyes there must be some damn good reasons why Op's mom didn't know for years that she had children. When they say, haven't seen, I suspect they mean they were either no contact or very low contact with their family. She said she didn't speak to anyone in her family for years. So you're spot on. Ha. That's what they said? That raises an important question. Why did original post not talk to their family and, more importantly, why have they gone back on their decision? Seemed like a good one. I'm a homemaker. My mom is my entire support system through this pandemic. I call her every day and I feel loads better whenever I go cook her supper or paint her nails or whatever. I can't even imagine being able to hide something as important as children from her. Then again, she's not the type of person who would ask to see a birth certificate. She's step-grandma to 5 children and they all like her better than their bio-grandpa, her husband. So, woman shrugging, embarrassed smiley face. My grandmother is extremely toxic and I cut her out when I was pregnant. She threw up a stink when I had my baby and didn't tell her. I responded, the reason I didn't tell you is the same reason I didn't tell my 5th grade teacher. Neither one of you are in my life. By the sounds of things, Op's mom is still toxic and she needs to think if she wants that in her and her children's lives. Simple. Grandma isn't allowed with the kids alone for even a second. Op is not the butthole. This is a very good point. Assuming she gave birth to her oldest son, that's like 13-ish months of zero contact. Exactly. It's one thing to not see your daughter/grandchild for 13 months, obviously people live far away from each other sometimes. But to not even call/text for that long? It seems like original post knows that grandma would show a difference if she knew which child was hers. It's probably best if original post continues to keep her distance, for her and her children's sake. She didn't speak to anyone in her family for years. To me, that means longer than 13 months. NTA. Your issue isn't about it being important enough to not tell her, it's about her own obsession with finding out. She doesn't get to demand information because she wants it. She is making it relevant by wanting to know, and the point is that because it isn't important to you, or the kids, it shouldn't be relevant to her. They're your kids. She can kick rocks about it. NTA at all. Why ask if it doesn't matter? I agree with BF. Let the kids decide when they are old enough to understand. But I really wish their names were actually Clark and Kent. NTA, totally and completely. You know she's going to make a big deal out of it the way she has pestered you and getting the family to be her flying monkeys. I sincerely hope you have their birth certificates locked up tight in a safe or safety deposit box so she cannot say she accidentally came across it. Would she resort to contacting your ex? Would he tell her? If you are cordial with him, or at least if he's a little bit reasonable, would it be a good idea to give him a heads up that your mom is pushing hard to know which boy is yours biologically and you don't want her to know? Would she resort to contacting your ex? Would he tell her? If you are cordial with him, or at least if he's a little bit reasonable, would it be a good idea to give him a heads up that your mom is pushing hard to know which boy is yours biologically and you don't want her to know? We're not cordial and he's not reasonable, but he's completely uncontactable to my whole family, including me. Truthfully, even if she could contact him, I doubt he'd even remember which son is biologically mine because he barely even knows their names and birthdays and hasn't seen them since they were both under a year old. She feels that if biology isn't such a big issue, then I should have no problem telling her whether Clark or Kent is my biological son. If biology isn't such a big issue, then she would effing drop it. You're not making a big deal out of it, she is. I would invite you to start an endless loop argument with her next time she brings this up. If it's not a big deal, why won't you just tell me? If it's not a big deal, why won't you just drop it? Ad nauseum. Alternately, keep asking her why she wants to know so badly if it isn't such a big issue and she won't show any favoritism. Do not accept "I just want to know" or "I'm just curious" as real answers. Third idea, tell her it's Clark, then an hour later, tell her you mixed it up, and it's actually Kent. Sometime later, whoops, I was right the first time. It's Clark. Or wait, hold on. Ad nauseum. NTA, and it is none of her goddamn business. At best, she's very nosy, doesn't respect boundaries, and shouldn't be indulged. At worst, wants to blatantly favor your bio son. Edit to add, I just realized that she wants to know so badly because she already has a favorite and wants to see if she can justify it as biological instinct or some bullcrap. Third idea, tell her it's Clark, then an hour later, tell her you mixed it up, and it's actually Kent. Sometime later, whoops, I was right the first time. It's Clark. Or wait, hold on. Ad nauseum. I once did this with someone that wanted to check how my personality matched my zodiac sign. I'm a Capricorn. Yeah, that makes sense with your personality, because blah blah blah. Sorry, I was lying, I'm a Leo. Oh. That makes even more sense because blah blah blah. Nice. Except that I was lying. I am indeed a Capricorn. Son of a bitch. Would your mother go so far as getting a DNA test for both of them? Have you thought of a way to reduce that risk yet? So not the butthole, you are Clark and Kent's, great aliases by the way. Mother, you love them equally, they are your sons and no matter the circumstances, you are an awesome mom, and who cares about biology? When to quote the great philosophers John, Paul, George and Ringo, all you need is love. You love your boys, and it's all they need. So tell your mom to mind her own business. My brother's Superman comments really stuck with me. Unfortunately, it looks like they're Marvel fans, so you can't win them all, lol. I completely agree with your view. The way I see it is that I'm their mother, they're my sons, we're a happy family, and the little details beyond that don't matter. I just don't know why mom is so hung up on it. Reading over the comments, you've really got the situation sorted. You talk to experts, the boys know what they need to know, and you will never hide the truth from them. Honestly, you have no idea how much I admire and respect you. Your boys are so lucky to have a mom like you. You really got everything covered, and the fact from the get-go, you were aware of how it could affect your son's emotions. You are their mom, and they are your babies, though 2 6-year-olds, I bet lives never dull. Though 2 6-year-olds, I bet lives never dull. You have no idea, lol. I have 6 years of anecdotal proof that there's no such thing as quiet time. I had them both full-time without their dad from when they were both under a year old, too, so it's just been manic for pushing 6 years. Boyfriend's been a huge help, though. He's been in their lives since they were tiny and always supported me. I couldn't have done it without him. Honestly, you have no idea how much I admire and respect you. Your boys are so lucky to have a mom like you. You really got everything covered, and the fact from the get-go, you were aware of how it could affect your son's emotions. You are their mom, and they are your babies, thank you. Truthfully, my one goal here is to not screw them up, lol. But I don't know what I would have done without them both. Biological or not, they're my boys and I love them more than anything. Couldn't imagine life without them, or even without one of them. I came here to say what this person already put so well. I respect you so much. Those boys are lucky to have you, and I'm sure you are lucky to have them too. I think I love you. Your heart is so generous. Your love for both your boys is heartwarming, totally not the butthole mom, I'm never going to tell you. It is not relevant to me and should not be relevant to you. I claim them both. If you can't accept that, I don't understand, but okay, we will reduce contact. Be happy, you so deserve it for giving both boys each other in your love. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.